Guys, the topic is prime factorization and successive division. It comes under number system, and this video is produced by Six Phrase the Finishing School. Okay, these are the upcoming videos. Now, in the previous video, I had some people asking me doubts. So what I thought was I dedicate some 5 minutes in solving it. Okay, so there were some confusions regarding, like, people misunderstood what I talked about in regards to perfect square numbers and perfect cube numbers. So I just thought I'll clarify that. Okay. Now what happens here is perfect square numbers. See, when I talked about perfect square number, this number. So when you talk about perfect square number, this number, this, this, all these are perfect squares. Okay, make no mistake about it. This is 5 square. Yes. This is 5 power 4. This is 5 power 6. Okay. All these are perfect square numbers. Okay. I'll tell you why. See, can you split them into two equal parts? That is what you have to see. Can you split these things into two equal parts? This can be split into 5 and 5. Right? This can be split like this, right? Now two equal parts. Okay. Now, can you split this into two equal parts? Yes, you can split this into two equal parts. So this is what perfect square means. When you write a number as in the form of its product, okay, like this, you must have you must be able to split it into two equal parts. In other words, the total number of fives here, the total number of fives here, the total number of fives here must be a multiple of 2. Okay, so when you have something that is a multiple of 2, I'm talking about the powers. Okay, and then we say it is a perfect square. So 5 square is a perfect square, 5 power 4 is a perfect square, 5 power 6 is a perfect square. Okay, now not only that, if I have a number like this, 5 square into 6 power 10, is this a perfect square? This is a perfect square because we have a multiple of 2. This is also a perfect square because we have a multiple of 2. So this whole number is a perfect square definitely. Okay, let us suppose I have something like this, 5 power 5 into 5. Is this number a perfect square? Of course it is a perfect square. The reason is here it means it is 1. Okay, so what does 5 plus 1 is equal to? 6, right? So 6 is a multiple of 2. But if we have something like this, 5 power 5 into 4 square, okay, now this a perfect square? This is not a perfect square because this is okay, this is a multiple of 2. Is this a multiple of 2? No, right? So your powers must be multiples of 2. If your powers are multiples of 2, then you can say the number is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. But this is not a perfect square because the powers must be multiples of 2. Okay. Now, in perfect cubes, it is very similar. The only thing is it should be multiples of 3. Okay. The powers must be multiples of 3. Okay. So this is 5 cube. So this is a perfect square, guys. This is 5 power 6. Yes. So this is a perfect square. This number is a multiple of 3, right? So this is a perfect square. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, this is 5 power 9. Is this a perfect cube? Okay, so did I just say perfect square? No, sorry. All these are perfect cubes. Okay, so this is a perfect cube. This is a perfect cube. This is also a perfect cube. The reason is, look at the powers. Okay. When you look at the powers, you can clearly see 3, 6, 9. These are multiples of 3. Okay. So when you are looking for when you are looking at a number, you have to look for the powers and see if those are all multiples of 3. Okay. For example, 5 square into 5 power 4. Is this number a perfect cube? Yes, it is a perfect cube because 5 square into 5 power 4 is nothing but 5 power 6. Okay, so if you don't understand how 5 square into 5 power 4 is 5 power 6, don't worry, we'll cover this in surds and in this topic. Okay, right now just understand 5 square into 5 power 4 is 5 power 6. So 5 power 6 is a multiple of 3. Yes, so this number is a perfect square. Okay, let me give one more example. Okay, now if I write 6 power 18 into 5 square into 5 square into 4 cube. Now is this a cube number? Is this a cube number? How many of you said it is a cube number? I think most of you won't say it is a cube number. As you can see, this is a multiple of 3, this is a multiple of 3. But 2 plus 2 becomes 4. Okay. Now is 4 a multiple of 3? Definitely not, right? So this whole number is not a perfect cube. Okay. So guys, we are dealing with cubes. I'm sorry if I keep saying perfect squares. Okay. Right now we are talking about cube numbers. Okay. I'm really sorry. So this whole number is not a perfect cube. Okay, this whole thing is not a perfect cube. The reason is this is a multiple of 3, this is a multiple of 3, 2 plus 2 is 4, this is not a multiple of 3. Okay, so in case if I give you the work of converting this into cube number, okay, you can multiply anything with this number. Okay, so what will you multiply it with? So you have to see, so this is already a multiple of 3. Okay, so there is no need to change anything here. Okay, now this is a multiple of 3. Again, no need to change anything. But here you have 5 square into 5 square, which is 5 power 4. For this whole number to become a multiple of, to become a cube number, the only problem is this 5 power 4. You have to convert this 4 into what? A multiple of 3. Okay, so you just have to add 2 more to that. How do you add 2 more to that? You do this 5 power 4 into 5 square. Okay, what is 5 square, guys? It is 25. So we say we should multiply this number by 25 to make it a perfect cube. Okay, if you multiply this by 25, this whole number becomes what? A perfect cube. Okay, so if you multiply it by 5 square, what will happen is you will get the number like this: 6 power 18 into 5 power 6 into 4 cube. Yes, so this is how the number has become after multiplying the whole number by 25. Now you can see multiple of 3, multiple of 3, multiple of 3. Okay. This understanding is very essential. That is why I am taking a lot of time to explain this, because we will see the application of this in today's topic. Okay, so make sure that you understand this. Okay, next. Now people also had a problem converting this 89.45, 60, 60, 63 and so on and so forth to fraction. Okay, so I thought I'll give you a clear explanation for this. Guys, this number is what we call as recurring non-terminal decimal. Okay, non-terminal non-terminal recurring. Okay, now what is this non-terminal recurring? So I think I already explained this in the last video. Okay, but still, see, it is non-terminal because look at this, after 63, 63, 63 keeps on going until infinity. Okay, so we don't know where, but it doesn't end. Okay, 63, 63 happens continuously without an end. Okay, so that is why we say non-terminal, it doesn't terminate. Okay, and recurring, it is recurring because 6363, what is 6363 doing? It is repeating itself, right? So 6363 is recurring without an end. That is why this is called a non-terminal recurring decimal. Okay, this is one type of decimal. Okay, there is one more type of decimal which is terminal recurring. Okay, terminal recurring. Okay, this is one more type of decimal which is terminal recurring. Okay, we also have terminal non-recurring. Okay, now all these two types of numbers can be converted into fraction. Okay, while studying while talking about rational numbers, I would have told you rational numbers are numbers which can be expressed as a fraction. Okay, so this can be expressed as a fraction, this can be expressed as a fraction, and the terminal non-recurring number I talked about, right? Terminal non-recurring number is like 0.453. That is non-recurring but terminal, right? That number also, okay, 0.453. This is terminal non-recurring number. Okay, all these three numbers are what we call as rational numbers because all these three can be converted into a fraction. So I'm going to tell you how to convert this. Okay, so once you know this, these two things will be very easy. You yourself will know. And in the previous video, refer to the previous video, I've shown you clearly how to convert all these decimal values into fractions. Okay, so non-terminal recurring, terminal recurring, and terminal non-recurring. 0.453 is terminal non-recurring. All these three types of decimal numbers can be converted to fractions and therefore they are called rational numbers. Okay, there is one more type of number which is non-terminal non-recurring. Okay, it doesn't terminate, it doesn't recur. Okay, for example 0.453214 323481 guys, it goes on like this. Okay, now tell me, is this a recurring number? Just a second. Yeah, this is a recurring number 453214323481. It is not recurring and it goes on like this forever. Okay, this number is called non-recurring non-terminal numbers. Non-terminal because it goes on. Okay, it never ends. Okay, now this number you cannot convert it into fraction. Okay, you can never convert this number into fraction. That is why these numbers are called irrational numbers. Okay, because you cannot convert it into fraction, these numbers are called irrational numbers. And examples of these are square root numbers. For example, root 2, root 3, root 4, root 5, pi. These constants, the values of the constant, take the value of a constant, it is non-recurring, non-decimal, 3.1428 something, right? So that is non-recurring, non-repeating, non-recurring, non-ending numbers. Okay, so these are irrational numbers. Now, so we'll see how to convert this. Take this to be A, guys. So the given number I've taken it to be A. Multiply it by 10,000. What happens? Because the reason I multiply it by 10,000 is I want decimal from here to here. Okay, I want it to move from here to here. So what I'm doing is I'm multiplying it by 100 first. Okay, so you can see here I did that. Okay, here I am multiplying it by 100 so that the decimal moves from here to here. Okay, not only that, but if you look at this number, okay, the thing that I should have after the decimal, okay, the thing that I should have after the decimal in both the cases must be equal. Okay, here and here. After, look at this, after the decimal is 636363. After the decimal it is 636363. Okay, it should be, you should do it in such a way that it is equal. Okay, when it is equal, you subtract, what will happen? this whole thing and this whole thing will go off. So the decimal part will get cancelled. That is the reason why we do it like this. Once the decimal part gets cancelled, this number can be converted into fraction. Okay. Now the reason why we don't just go why here 10,000, why here 100. Okay, you do 100 here, you do 100 here, and you subtract, what do you get? You get 0, guys. So there is no use in doing it. Okay, so the reason is why we doing 10,000 is to make sure that the point we don't get a non-zero value when we subtract these two numbers. Okay, you do 100a, again you do 100a, subtract these two, you get 0, subtract these two, you get 0. Okay, so that is why you make this 10,000 and make this 100. Now subtract, okay, 2 from 1, what you get is 9,900a is equal to 885618. The decimal, this thing is gone, right? You don't find the decimal because it is cancelled out when you subtract it. Okay, so the final answer is a is equal to, so now this is in fractional form, right? Of course it is not a reduced fraction, you still can reduce it. Okay, I think you should divide it by 6 or 12. Okay, so I don't know, but still the answer is in fraction. Okay, now to today's topic, prime factorization. So prime factorization, what does prime factorization mean? As the name suggests, okay, it is in the name, prime factorization. You first factorize and then you represent it in using prime numbers. That's it. Okay, or you have to represent a given number using prime factors. Okay, using prime factors, that is called prime factorization. Now what does it mean? Okay, let us take the factors of 60, guys. These are the factors of 60. Okay, so I guess we have 12. Yeah, we have 12 factors, including 1 and 60. We have 12 factors. Among these factors, 2, 3, 5 are called what? They are the prime factors of 60. There is no other prime factor of 60. Okay, only 2, 3 and 5 are the prime factors of 60. Okay, now prime factorization is the process of expressing a number as a product of its prime factors. That is what I told you. You write a number in terms of its prime factors. Now what does it mean? Take 60, okay, and split it like this, 15 into 4, right? 60 is nothing but 15 into 4. 15 can be written as 3 into 5. 4 can be written as 2 square. Now 60, you written it in terms of 3, 5 and 2. Yes. Now what is this 3, 5 and 2? All are prime numbers. Yes. This is prime factorization. Okay. Now why should we do the prime factorization? So that is the main aim of this course. In the next 45 minutes, you're going to understand the applications of this prime factorization. What is the use of converting this 60 like this? Okay, when you convert the 60 like this, there are many things that you can understand, or many things that you can derive from it. Okay, you can derive many things from this result. Okay, and it is very useful to us. Okay, so we'll see what are those things. Okay, many things. How did we write 60 as 3, 5, 2 square? Okay, so 60 was a very small number, so it was easy to split it up like this and write. But some of them will have difficulty in doing prime factorization for a given number. So I'm going to teach you a method. Not so much teaching, because I think you already know this method. Okay, but the only thing is, like, nobody has told you that it is prime factorization. You already know what I am doing now. Okay, so don't worry about it. Now this is what I'll do. I'll take 60 and then here I'll use the least prime number that can be used. Okay, see, 60 is divisible by 2, guys. It is divisible by 3. It is divisible by 4. It is divisible by 5. It is divisible by 6. All these numbers. But why do I choose 2? Because it is the least prime number that can be used at this point. Okay, at this point 2 is the least prime number that can be used. So 60 by 2 is 30. Okay, now what is the least prime number that I can use? Again I can use 2, right? So 30 by 2 is 15. Now can I use 2 here? No, right? 15 is not divisible by 2. Okay, but I can use 3. Okay, that's why I write 3 and I get a 5. Now this process of dividing must happen until we get a prime number here. Okay, until you get a prime number. I got a prime number which is 5, so I stopped here. So until I get a prime number, I'll continue doing this and take these things to 2, 3 and 5 and form the prime factorization product. Okay, so you have two 2's, so that is why 2 square. 1 3, so you have 1 3. 1 5, you have 1 5. Okay, so you can see here 60 is expressed as 3 into 5 into 2 square, because guys it is expressed like that because two twos are here, 1 3 and 1 5. Okay, that is why 3 into 5 into 2 square. Applications, we'll see what is application. First application is finding the total number of factors or devices. You could also call devices as factors, right, of a given composite number. Now why does this say a composite number? Why not a number? Why are they leaving on prime numbers? Can anybody think about it? It says finding total number of factors of a given composite number. Now why do they say composite number? Why not a prime number? Yes, if you got it correctly, for a prime number, the total number of factors is always 2. So you don't need any math to find it. You know it is 2, right? So for a prime number, you don't have to determine what the total number of factors is. Okay, it is always 2 because a prime number is divisible by 1 and itself. Okay, but other numbers like composite numbers will have many factors. So it varies depending upon the number. Okay, so that is why we have to know how to find it. Okay, let us say that the factors of 60 are, these are the factors of 60, right? So how many factors are there, guys? There are 12 factors. Okay, now because it is 60, maybe you wrote all the factors and then you found out. Okay, so let us see how this prime factorization tells you this number 12. Okay, now this 12 number, I got this 12 number because what is the power of 3 is 1, right? Now I'll take that 1 and add one more 1. Now what is the power of 5? It is also 1, right? So I'll take that 1 and add one more 1. Now what is the power of 2? It is 2, right? So I'll take that 2 and add one more 1. Okay. Now multiply these things. Okay. Okay. So what is this? 2 into 2 into 3. What is 2 into 3 into 3? It is 12. So did we get this 12? Yes. So it is as simple as that, guys. This is why prime factorization, this is the first application of prime factorization. Okay, so this gives you the total number of factors of any number. Here we found the number of factors for 60. Okay, now the reason I told you guys is, see, that is what it says, number of factors is equal to this. The reason is, let's take this number 1720. Now will you be sitting down and writing down all these factors? It is impossible, it is difficult, right? So what do? Just do prime factorization. Okay, so what I'll do is, you know this, take the smallest prime number that you can use, divided by 2, you'll get 860. Again divided by 2, you'll get 430. Divided by 2, you will get 215. Divided by, now 215 you cannot divide it by 3, so I'm using 5 here. Divided by 5, you'll get 43, and this is a prime number. I told you, once you get a prime number, you can stop, right? Now guys, this can be written as 1720, 2 cube into 5 into 43 per 1. Now how did this come about? I already told you how to do that. Okay, that came about because you have 3 2's here, so 2 cube, 1 5 and 143. Okay, so you have 3 2's, 1 5 and 143. Okay, so now the point here is, why did we do this prime factorization? The sole purpose is to find the number of factors. Okay, so what do? Take this power 3, add 1 to it. Take this power 1, add 1 to it. Take this power 1, add 1 to it, and then multiply all these things. So 4 into 2 into 2 is 16. So 1720 has 16 factors. Okay, it is very simple, right? Once you know it. So this is the general formula. If it is where a power p plus a power p into b power q into c power r, where a, b, and c, this a, b, and c are prime numbers, and p, q, r are powers, then it is p plus 1 into q plus 1 into r plus 1. This is general format for it. Now the second application is finding the sum of all factors of a given number. Guys, what we did now is, let us see what the sum of factors. See, these are the factors of 60. So we keep repeating that example of 60. Now, when I said the previous application was to find the number of factors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we saw we got 12 factors for 60. Okay, that is number of factors. This application is to find the sum of all these factors. What does sum of all these factors mean? Sum means take this 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus. So you add all the factors, okay, and finally you will end up with the sum. Okay, so that is how you should, that is what we are finding here. Okay, now this is not an easy task. It is, as it is very difficult to find the number of factors. Okay, in the here it is 60, so it is manageable. But what if it is 2500 or something like that? You have to write all the factors and add all the numbers. It is an impossible task. So that is where prime factorization helps you. Okay, so you express this as 3 into 5 into 2 square. Okay, so see what I am doing here. Okay, now 3 into 5 into 2 square, guys, this is 60. Okay, if you're going to find the sum of all those factors of 60, what I'm do is, see, this is what I'm doing here. It is 1, right? So I'm adding plus 1 here and then doing minus 1 here, also 1, right? So I'm adding plus 1 to the power and minus 1 to this whole thing. So this minus 1 is to this whole thing. So similarly, this minus 1 is to this whole thing. Okay, so this minus 1 is to this 3 square. This minus 1 is to 5 square. Okay, again here the power is 2, right? So what am I doing? I am taking 2 plus 1. So I am adding plus 1 to the power, and to this whole term I am subtracting 1. Okay, so that is what happens in the numerator. In the denominator, what happens is you just do 3 minus 1, 5 minus 1, 2 minus 1. You subtract 1 from all these prime numbers. Okay, that is what you do in the denominator. Now 3 square is 9, 3 square minus 1, this becomes 5 square minus 1, this becomes 2 cube minus 1 into 2 into 4 into 1. So you solve this, you'll get 168, guys. Look at this. I told you, right? The sum of all this comes up to be 168. So this is also 168, this is also 168. So this is, being a small number, you can do this. For 2500 and 3000, instead of 60, if we had 2500 and 3000, this method is the easier one to do. Okay, so make sure that you understand this. Now this is the general formula. I told you, right? You add 1 to the power and then subtract 1 from this whole term. Add 1, subtract 1 from this whole term. Add 1, subtract 1. Add 1, subtract 1. And then you have to subtract 1 from all the prime numbers. Okay. Now, third application is to find the product of all factors of a given number. Okay. Now, we had in the first one was to find the number of factors. Second one was to find the sum of factors. Now we are going to find the product of factors. Okay. Now this is very simple. This is not as difficult as the first two things. Okay. The reason is literally, just look at this, guys. Factors of 80. These are the factors of 80. Okay. And how many factors does 80 have? It has 10 factors. Okay. Now look at this. Look at this. This is very interesting. Okay. You start from 1. You have to write 80. You can have, what are the different ways you can write 80 involving two factors? Okay, you should involve two factors. factors. Okay, you should involve two factors and write 80. How can you do it? You can write 1 into 80, or 2 into 40, or 4 into 20, or 5 into 16, or 8 into 10. So you look at this. If you are able to do this, okay, now how many values we have? We have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, here it is 5. Here it is 5. What is 5 plus 5, guys? It is 10. Okay. So this is a very important correlation. Okay. It will always be like that. Okay. If the total number of factors is 10, here the total number of combinations in which you can write, it will always be 10 by 2. Okay. 10 by 2. Let us assume that we had 20 factors. Then how many such combinations can you write? You can write 10 such combinations, because 20 by 2 is 10. Okay. Okay. So we'll look at this in detail when it matters the most. Right now it doesn't matter a lot. Okay. Now, yes. Now, but what you can see here is, you can see the product of these are its factors. These are its 10 factors, right? These 10 things. Okay. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are its 10 factors. Their product is nothing but the product of 80 into 80 into 80 into 80, right? So how many 80s you have? 5 80s. So this is nothing but 80 power 5. Simple, right? 80 power 5. 80 power 5 in the sense it is 80 is the number itself. What is 80? 80 is the number itself. How did this 5 come about? So 80 is the number itself. So I write it to be a capital N. Okay. Now this 5 came about because of 10 by 2, where 10 is nothing but small n. Okay. This I am going to write it as n by 2. Okay. So capital N is the number for which you are finding the factor. Okay. The number for which you are finding the factor. Okay. What is small n? Small n is the number of factors. Yes. Small n is the number of factors, which is 10 here. Okay. So the capital N is this, guys, this number. Okay. Small n is this one. Okay. So the general formula is this: n power n by 2. Okay. Capital N power small n by 2. Okay. So it is very easy. So you can see hence the product of its factors is 80 power 5, which is 80 power 10 by 2. Okay, so general formula for a number n with n factors is product is equal to n by 2. Okay. Now the fourth application is finding the number of odd factors of a given composite number. You are given a composite number, you are going to find the odd factors. Okay. So 90 has 12 factors. So I can write it in 6 ways. I told you, right? If it has 12 factors, you can write it as a combination of 2 factors, okay, or as a product of 2 factors in 12 by 2 ways. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. Okay, because it has 12 factors. Okay, this if you count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you have 12 factors here, guys. Yes. Now finding the odd factors. Now you look at this and tell me how many odd factors you have. 1 is odd, 3 is odd, 45 is odd, 5 is odd, 15 is odd, 9 is odd. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 odd factors. Okay, so you must get 6 odd factors as an answer. See, again it is very easy. Just do prime factorization of 90. If you do prime factorization of 90, you will get this. Now, when do you say a number is odd? This is a very important thing most people don't talk about. When do you say a number is odd? A number is odd when its product doesn't have this. Yes. Shall we see examples? Take 1. How can you write 1? 1. Take 15. How can you write 15? 3 into 5. Take 21. How can you write 21? 3 into 7. Take 45. How can you write 45? 5 into 9. So can you give me an odd number? 105. What is 105, guys? 27 into 27 into 105. How do you write 105? I guess it is 35 into 3, right? Yeah, 35 into 3. Okay, 35 into 3. Now, again, 35 can be written as 7 into 5. Okay, now you see all these are odd numbers, guys. All these 1, 15, 21, 45, 105, all these are odd numbers. Do you find any 2 here? Yes. Do you find any 2 here? No 2's. Okay. 2 is the ingredient which makes a number even. Okay. So if you don't have a 2 in a numbers product, it means it is an odd number. Okay. So here we are finding the odd factors. So what we should not have? This we should not have. Okay. So that is the reason of this next step. Look at what I just did here. Instead of 2 power 1 into 3 square into 5 power 1, I have written just 3 square into 5 power 1. Okay, this is totally gone. Okay, can you see 2 power 1 here? No, right? Yes. So I am taking that out. Now you apply our usual principle, you will get the answer. Okay, now how do we find the number of factors? Take this 2, add 1. Take this 1, add 1. Okay, and multiply them both. Okay, 3 into 2, which will give you 6. Guys, while counting, I told you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So did we get 6 odd factors? It is as simple as that. Okay, so you can see for yourself prime factors without 2 even power component, and number of odd factors is 2 plus 1 into 1 plus 1 is equal to 6. So 1, 3, 5, 9, 15, 45 are the 6 odd factors of 90. This is very simple. So general rule is a general rule for it. Just go through it. Now finding the number of even factors of a given composite number. Now we have a direct formula, but I don't want to give it to you and confuse you right now. Right now, just know it is the let us take 90 itself for example. How do you find the total number of factors? Do this prime factorization: 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1. Okay, so 12. Totally, there are 12 factors to 90. This 12 factors is a combination of what, guys? Odd factors plus odd factors plus even factors, right? The 12 number is a combination of odd factors plus even factors. Okay, so odd factors plus even factors. 12 is a combination of that. So you know how to find odd factors. I told you right now, right? So you take it like this. Omit this 2. Write this like this, and 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 6. So out of 12, 6 are odd factors. So how many even factors will be there? 6. Okay, so it is as simple as that. Successive division. We come to the second part. Okay, successive division. Guys, this is also a very important question. Now, I'll tell you what successive division is. A number when successively divided by 4, 6, 8 gives remainders 1, 0, 4. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what successive division is. So, listen to this carefully. Okay, what successive division means is, let us say you take this number 29. Okay, you divide this by 3. What do you get? 7 times 20. Okay, it's not 7 times. 9 times 27. The remainder is 2, right? Guys, now this quotient becomes the dividend. Okay, so this 9 will come here. Okay, so now this is they'll say the question, a number when successively divided by 4. We'll take this example itself. Okay, so why should I want? I shouldn't confuse you. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, we'll take this example itself. 4, 6, and 8 gives remainders 1, 0, and 4. Okay. Okay, so you have to find that number. Okay, that is what they are saying. A number when you successively divide by 4, 6, and 8 gives remainders 1, 0, and 4. Okay, what is this successively divide by 4, 6, and 8? That is what I'm trying to explain here. Okay, successively dividing it by 4 means just take 99. Okay. I think it is best to go this way. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, what you do is in this question, what are 4, 6, and 8, guys? Divisors. So write down 4, 6, and 8 here. 4, 6, 8. Okay. Now what are the remainders? 104. Write down 104 here. Okay. So all the successive division problems you do it this way. Okay. Write down all the divisors here. Okay. Write down all the remainders here. So these are divisors. These are remainders. Okay. Now what you do is draw a cross like this. 2 crosses. Now draw a straight line like this. 2 straight lines. Now what you do is this cross means it is multiplication. This is plus. Addition. Straight line is plus. So here it is multiplication. Here it is plus. So you start from here. Okay. Forget about this. Start from here. What is 4 into 6? 24. Plus 0 is 24. 24 into 4. 96. 96 plus 1 is 97. Okay, so we got the number that we are looking for. This 97 is this A, guys. See, this is actually a shortcut way of finding A. Okay, but this is how we do it. Okay, so write down the divisors at the top, write down the remainders at the bottom. Okay, put 2 crosses like this, 2 straight lines like this. Crosses are multiplication, straight lines are addition. Don't do anything here. Okay, cross this 8 out. We don't need this 8. 4 into 6 is 24 plus 0. Again 24. Here it will be 24. Right? 24 into 4 is 96 plus 1 is 97. Okay. Now, what does this 97 do? I will tell you. Okay, this 97 that we got, what it does is, take this 97. Now, we should divide this 97 by what? 4. Okay, first thing is divide it by 4. You divide it by 4, what will happen, guys? 24 times will give you 96. Okay, 24 times will give you 96. What is 97 minus 96? 1. Now, did you get this remainder? For the divisor 4, what is the remainder that you got? You got 1. Okay, then. Now, this 24 becomes the dividend. Okay, so here it is 24. This 24 is divisible by the next divisor, which is 6. If you divide 24 by 6, what is the remainder that you get, guys? 6 4 times is 24. Okay, 6 4 times is 24. The remainder that you get is 0. Okay, so for 6, the remainder is 0. So you're getting it accurately. Now this becomes the next dividend. Okay, 4. So 4 should be divisible by what divisor? 8. You divide 4 by 8, or what do you get? The quotient is 0. So the remainder will be 4. Okay, so did you get 4? Yes. So for 4, 6 and 8 divisors, the remainder you get is 1, 0 and 4. Okay, so see, for 4, 6 and 8, you are getting 1, 0 and 4 as the remainders. Okay, the key point is how to find this 97. I already told you this number. Okay, now these numbers, now here 97 was the least number. 97, the number you got is the least number. Okay, so if you want to find numbers like this, numbers like 97, which when divided by 4, 6 and 8 give 1014. There is a technique in doing it. Okay, I'll tell you what the technique is. Okay, now for example, let's say they ask you what is the least, we move on. A by 4 is remainder is 1, here remainder is 0, here remainder is 4. So I told you, right? So that is what without finding 97 I've done this. Okay, for example, if A was 97, okay, so you will get this. Okay, now what if, okay, how did we get the number 97? Okay, so I've given a proper representation of it. Okay, so that means multiplication, this means addition. Now you start here and do this, you will get 97. I told you, right? So this is how we got 97. So these are divisors, these are remainders. Okay, now the thing is, look at this guys, look at this very carefully. What if you are asked to find this 97 is the least number which possesses this characteristics of giving remainders is 104 when divided by 4, 6 and 8. Okay, there are other such numbers, okay, which are greater than 97. Okay, how do you find that number? For example, if they ask you what is the least 3-digit number or 4-digit number which when divided by 4, 6 and 8 gives 104. Okay, exhibits the same characteristics. Okay, what is the this is not a 3-digit number, right? So you cannot use this. This is not a 4-digit number, so you cannot use this. So how do you find other such numbers? Okay, that is what I'm going to tell you. So first find the least such number using the above mentioned technique. Okay, so here it is 97. Then what you do is multiply 4, 6 and 8. Those are the divisors, guys. Multiply 4, 6 and 8 into m plus least number. Okay, so 4 into 6 into 8 is nothing but 192. Okay, so 192 m plus 97. Okay, so this is the important equation that we need. Okay, using this you can find the least 3-digit, the least 4-digit, all those things. Okay, so multiply all the divisors and product it with m plus the least number that you got here. Okay, 97. We'll see how we get the number. Put the value of m is equal to 0, guys. What will happen? 192 into 0 plus 97 will become 97. So when m is 0, our answer is 97. So this is the first number which exhibits that characteristic. What is that characteristic? You divide this number by 4, 6 and 8, your remainder will be 104. That is the characteristic of that number. Now when m is equal to 1, you get 289. Now you divide 289 by 4, 6 and 8. What is the remainder that you get? Same 104. Okay. When m is equal to 2, you get 481. You divide this by 4, 6 and 8. What is the remainder that you get? 104. 673. 865. 1057. Now this and this is of importance to us because this is the least 3-digit number which exhibits this characteristic that we are talking about. This is the least 4-digit number which exhibits the characteristics that we are talking about. Okay, this is the largest 3-digit number which exhibits the characteristics. So what was asked in the question, you can reply to the using these formula and substitute and varying the value of m. Okay, so it is very simple, right? So but make sure you understand this. These are multiplications of divisors into m plus the least number. Okay, so the least such 3-digit number is 289. So least such 3-digit number is largest such 3-digit number is 865. Least such 4-digit number is 1057. So depending upon the question, you pick and choose whatever you want. Okay, so we come to the problems, guys. So so this is, we have to find the divisors of 1728. So or in other words factors. So what do? Do prime factorization. So 864 divided by 2, 432 divided by 2, 216 divided by 2, 108 divided by 2 divided by 3. Finally you have how many 2's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 power 5 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So here I think I made a mistake. It is 5, right? 1, 2. Yeah, something is missing. Yeah, it is actually 6. Here at the top, this is missing. 1, 7, 2, 8 divided by 2. Now how many 2's are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 power 6 into 3. Guys, you know 6 plus 1, 3 plus 1. Multiply it, you will get the answer. 7 into 4, 28. Okay, very simple. Now, what is the smallest number that should be divided by 10,500 to make it a perfect cube? Now you understand why I spent all those time at the top of the video discussing what is perfect cube and what is perfect square. Okay, specifically for this problem. Okay, because we didn't do that, or if you did not know what is a perfect cube, then you won't understand this problem. Okay. Now, what is the smallest number that should be divided by 10,500 to make it a perfect cube? Okay. Now, these type of problems, first prime factorize 10,500 and write it in terms of its prime factors. Okay. That is what I would have done. Okay. So, let us not concentrate on this. Okay. So, let us don't concentrate on this. Okay. See, now 10,500 I have written it in terms of its prime factors. Okay. Now, for this to become a perfect cube, what should you multiply? That is what they're asking. Oh, sorry, what should you divide? What is the smallest number? Okay, what is the smallest number that you should divide? Okay. Now, guys, see, if you're going to divide, you have to put some numbers here at the denominator, right? Now, if you're going to divide, see, 5 is already cube. This is in the cube format, so don't disturb this. Why would you want to disturb it? The problem is 2 square, 3 and 7. If you are able to cancel all this, then you'll be left with 5 cube. Then this becomes a cube number. So what do you do? What is 2 square? 4 into 3 into 7. Okay. So now this and this will get cancelled. This and this will get cancelled. This and this will get cancelled. You're left with 5 cube, which is a perfect cube number. What is 4 into 3 into 7? 84. Okay. So 84 is the number which you should divide 10,500 by to make it a perfect cube. Okay, very simple, right? Find the smallest number that you should multiply with 54,000 to make it a perfect cube. Now, you're not dividing or multiplying. Okay, so 54,000, again we'll take this number out. Okay, now 54,000, if you write it in terms of like this. Now, guys, you perfect cube, this is okay. The power is a multiple of 3. This is also okay because power is a multiple of 3. This is not okay. Why is it not okay? This is not a multiple of 3. For this to become multiple of 3, for 2 power 4 to become multiple of 3, what you do is you multiply it by 2 square. Okay. Now what happens? This becomes 2 power 6. This is a multiple of 3, right? So you multiplied it with what? 2 square. 2 square is nothing but 4. So you can see the answer is 4. Okay. See. Once you put it in prime factorization format, it becomes very easy. Okay, and I hope you are looking at did you know. Okay, watch did you know this. You'll find this did you know slides in all the problem solving slides, not in the concept slides, problem solving slides. See, even in the previous slide you would have had did you know. See, there is a did you know, and even for the one that was before that. See, here also there is a did you know. Go through the did you know, very important information that might be very useful. Not might, it will be very useful. Okay. Next, determine the sum of all even factors of 680. Okay, guys. You got to not just sum of factors, only even factors. So what do you do? I told you, you first find the total number of factors. Okay, for 680. What is the total number of factors? 3 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1. 16. This is the total number of factors. What is the sum of those total factors? I gave you a formula. Do you remember it? Yes. This is another way of doing the same formula, guys. Yes. Maybe I'll also teach you that you can use that formula method. You remember that formula wherein I put it like this. Okay. You have the factors. To find the sum of factors, what you did was you did 2 power 3 plus 1. You did plus 1 and the whole thing minus 1. Remember this. Into 5 1 plus 1 and the whole thing minus 1 into 17. Here it is 1. So 1 plus 1 and the whole thing minus 1. Okay, and what did we do? And the denominator it was 2 minus 1 into 5 minus 1 into 17 minus 1. Okay, I hope you remember this. To find the sum of all the factors, what we did is we use this method. We can either do it this way or we can do it this way. Okay, I'll tell you this. Both will do this and this will give you the same answer. Okay, now I'll tell you how it is. Now, this method is very simple. What you do is look at this. You have 2 cube, right? What does 2 cube consist of? 2 cube consists of 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 square and 2 cube. You add all of it and multiply it with, there is a multiplication symbol here, right? So we have multiplication symbol. What does 5 power 1 consist of? 5 power 0 and 5 power 1. Add all and multiply because there is a multiplication. Now 17 power 1 consists of 17 power 0 and 17 power 1. Okay. Now guys, you add all this, you get 15. You add 1 and 5, you will get 6. You add 1 and 17, you get 18. You multiply everything, you get 1620. So this is a one another way of finding sum of all factors. So this and the method that I told you here, both will give you 1620. Okay. So it doesn't matter which one you follow, whatever is easier to you do that. Okay. But the important point to note here is this 1620 is a product of all the factors. We need only the, sorry, it is the sum of all the factors. We need only the sum of the even factors alone. Now what you do is, you very well know the sum of, or the number of even factors and number of odd factors will give you total number of factors, right? So sum of all even factors is equal to sum of all factors minus sum of odd factors. Okay. So sum of all even factors is equal to sum of all factors. Sum of all factors is 1620. So I've written it here. Sum of odd factors. How do you get odd factors, guys? Here it is 2 cube into 5 power 1 and 17 power 1. To get the odd factors, I told you should eliminate this and write. So I've eliminated this and written it here. Okay, eliminated the 2. Now 5 power 0, 5 power 1, 17 power 0, 17 power 1. Okay, so this will give you 6 into 18, which is 108. So this is the sum of the odd factors alone. So if you subtract this from the total sum, you will get the sum of even factors. Okay, simple, right? Go through the video again if you're not like specific or you missed something. It means you have not understood the basic concept. So go through the video again and again. Okay, so this video will be put up in YouTube forever and ever. Okay, so we won't delete it, so don't worry. Now a number is divided by 8765 successively and gave the remainder 1, 2, 3, 4. The number is, okay guys, successively. Okay, so we are talking about successive division. So it is divided by 8765, remainder 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you do? Put the divisor over at the top, put the remainder at the bottom. Do the thing I asked you to do. Find the number. Okay, so what do you do? 8765. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. The remainders comes at the bottom. See the lines. Look at how the lines are coming. So this means it is a multiplication. This means it is addition. Okay. Now these are divisors. These are remainders. Look at the lines. Okay. We never put lines here, guys. Make sure this is wrong. You never put lines there. Okay. You just leave it empty. Okay. And you also don't care about this 5. Okay. We never take this into account. Okay. So don't take 5 into account. Okay. Now, how do you start? You start here, okay, and 4 into 6 plus 3. So that is what I've done here. And this whole thing is multiplied by 7. Okay, so that is what I've done here. Okay, plus 2. And this whole thing is multiplied by 8. Okay, plus 1. So you add all this, you'll get 1529. Now, to find the next such numbers, see, 1529 is the first number or the least number which exhibits this characteristic. What is that characteristic? Characteristic is you divide this number by 8765 successively. I told you what is successive division. In successive division, once you are done with the division, the quotient becomes the next dividend. Okay, so that is successive division. So when you do successive division, you get 1, 2, 3, 4 as the remainder. Okay, what is the next number? How did I tell you that you should find the next number? Exactly this. Take the divisors, multiply it, and do a product of m plus the least number. Okay, so your equation will be 1680m plus 1529. Now, put the value of m is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 to get the required value. Okay, now the required value is 3209 because our options, okay, if you look at the options, it has 3209. Okay, that's why it's stopping with 1, m is equal to 1. Okay, maybe if the option had something like 6000 or 5000, then you could try m is equal to 2 and see what the result is. But right now 3209 is where I stop because the option has 3209, guys. For the questions, I'm not giving you the options, okay, but in actual real life exam we have options. Again, the same question. This time I want you to pause the video, then try it for yourself and then double check with the answer. Now pause it now. Okay, I hope you are ready with the answer. A number when successively divided by 532 gives the remainder 0, 2, 1 respectively. What will be the remainder when the same number is divided successively by 2, 3, 5? Okay, so we are not just finding the number, we are finding the number and then dividing it with new divisors. Earlier it was 532. Right now we are dividing it with 235. Now for 532 we get 0, 2, 1. Some of you might think for 235, because 235 is the reverse of 532, right? So we may, if instead of getting 0, 2, 1, some of you may think we'll get 1, 2, 0. Okay, that is not exactly what we get. Okay, that is to confuse you. There will be an option which also says 1, 2, 0. Okay, so don't fall for it. Okay, so what you do is find the number. How do you find the number? I've already told you divisors and remainders are given. Put the divisors at the top, put the remainder at the bottom, put the arrow marks. Cross says it is multiplication, a straight arrow mark says it is addition. These are divisors, these are remainders, and you start there, right here. Okay, so what is 1 into 3? It is 3, plus 2 is 5. 5 into 5, 25, plus 0 is 25. So see, you are getting this least value to be 5. The least value which gives you 0, 2, 1 when you divide it by 532 is 25. Okay, so you can see 25 by 2, remainder is 1. 12, when you divide 25 by 2, what is the quotient? 12, right? So 12 by 3, remainder is 0. 4 by 5, 4. So you are getting 104. Okay, so our answer is 104. Okay, so the reason is you're taking this 25, instead of dividing it by 532, what has happened here? You're dividing it by 235. Okay, so that is what they're asking. What is the remainder when you divide that number by 235? Okay, when you divide this 25 by 532, your remainders will be 0 to 1. Okay, when you divide this number by 532, your remainders will be 0 to 1. But here you are dividing these numbers by 235. Yes, guys, 235. 25 by 2, the quotient is 12. 12 by 3, the quotient is 4. I told you the quotient will become the dividend for the next division. So here 25 by 2, the remainder is 1. 12 by 3, the remainder is 0. 4 by 5, the remainder is 4. So the answer is 104. Okay. So that's about it, guys. We'll meet in another video.